Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. You caught me organizing and sorting through some of my comic collection. If you guys don't know or aren't aware, I actually am really into comic books. All the lore behind, the Marvel comics, the DC comics, even Image Comics. And if you don't know this, Topps even made comics in addition to their collector cards back in the day. But here I am, I'm just chilling this Saturday. I'm going through some of my comics, just kind of reflecting over the ones I have, ones that I want to get, and ultimately grazing through them and just deciding how to display them, because a lot of the comics I have, I want to show, because I'm proud of the comics that I have. So while you're here, why don't you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Can't talk, because we are going to go over some of the most important comics that are meaningful to me in my collection. So some of the comics that I really like to collect are the foil cover comic books. Obviously they're extremely eye-popping, but one thing I really like about them is that they make the flat artwork around the foil pop even more. Like this Iron Man's really cool, all the gold was foil. The background right here for the Venom #1 is really cool. Really, really cool. We've got the Secret Defenders, which I think this one pops a lot. We've also got Thunderstrike, which is Thunderstrike issue #1, which is a spin-off of the Thor comic series. Right here we've got all of the really cool lightning bolts, and they've all got really neat foil aspects to it. This one's one of my favorites. We've got Dr. Bruce Banner evolving into the Hulk. We've got Nova issue #1. This one I'm really happy to have. We've also got this really awesome Punisher comic where the knife is foil, but everything else is pretty flat. And the cool thing about the knife, his hand and his face, is it's all raised. So it's got a texture to it, which is really neat, that even adds more of a pop. And it's just really neat. Lastly, we've got Doom 2099. The border is foil, which is really neat. And then here we have Spider-Man: The Lost Years. The whole background is red and foil, and it pops really nice. It's a really neat comic. And then finally here we've got the Punisher Holiday Special. All the Christmas ornaments are foil and shiny and reflective, and they've got the fisheye lens going with them, so it makes everything that's projected in them rounded. Really neat effect. So right up here we've got Haunted Horror, which is a horror comic book. We've got Spider-Man, which is a really neat team up with an exclusive Sleepwalker trading card. Next up we've got The Mighty Thor, which the Thor Ragnarok film takes some inspiration from this actual comic right here. Next up we've got The Reign of the Supermen, with an exclusive Man of Tomorrow poster inside. We've got the first issue of Spider-Woman, There Can Only Be One. We have the Pulp Fiction inspired The Incredible She-Hulk. I've wanted this one since I was a little kid. We have a righteous Jurassic Park, Danger! We've got Marvel Zombies, which is a really grotesque comic, I must say so myself, but very entertaining. We have The Shadow, which, without the Shadow, there would be no Batman. Started off as an old radio show back in the early days of entertainment. Has even spawned a movie with Alec Baldwin. And lastly here we have Kanto, which is a lovely tale, very fantasy inspired, very lovely, very, very action-packed. Right on, so now that you've seen some of my prized collections, or comics in my comic collection, I want to show you some of the cool things that you might have noticed on the covers of the comic books. So for example, we've got this Reign of the Superman comic. It says bonus Man of Tomorrow poster inside. So first off, I want to say that what got me to get this comic was not only am I a fan of the storyline where Superman is now dead and now there's a bunch of imposter Supermen, but it's got a cool cover, and I'm a sucker, as you know, for cool covers. So it's actually cut out, and we get the android Superman right there. But now if we go ahead, let's see. Here we've got the poster. It's two-sided. It says the Man of Tomorrow, but it's also a fold out, a centerfold, which is really cool. Let me give you guys a closer look here. Really neat. Really Terminator, inspired. Totally rad. So now let's look at a few more. This issue of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six, Part 5, we've got Ghost Rider, Deathlock, Sleepwalker, and Hulk, all helping out Spider-Man, fighting the Sinister Six. But there's a character in here that you might not have ever heard of before. Sleepwalker. He was a new character that they were bringing along, and this is one of the first times we ever see him. So, as you saw when I was showing off the comic earlier, it came with a Sleepwalker trading card. So the Sleepwalker trading card was a bonus in this comic. It tells us a little bit more about the character that we might not have ever known. Lastly, I wanted to show off again a closer look at the horror comic book that I have right here, The Chilling Archives of Horror Comics. Haunted Horror, number 12. So this is completely different than any other comic book that I have. I've always been a fan of the EC comics that are the inspiration for Tales of the Crypt, the TV show, and I just love a good horror story. So you can see the art detail, the art, the coloring, the inking, the penning is all old. So these are old collections. This is a compilation comic full of horror stories, old horror stories that you would see in the comics, like EC comic books and other prints. The Murder Pool. I just love reading these on a nice stormy night. You can never go wrong with a good horror comic book. Very much like reading right from the pages of ancient scary legends. The Subway Terror! This really reminds me of the movie Creepshow. Oh, and here's more that you can order. And as an added bonus, I want to show you guys an exclusive look at Kanto. This is issue 1. I have issues 1 through 3 with 4 releasing next week and 5 already on pre-order. But Kanto is an exclusive comic book printed from IDW Comics. And this is from the creative mind of David Booher, who is brothers with our very own collector protectors, Jeff Booher. So without further ado, let me show you guys the comic. So the story of Kanto is very mystical, very fantastical. It is about these people here, these night-looking beings are enslaved. And they have, as you can see here, clocks for hearts. So their time is borrowed. They are forbidden to show love, emotions. So, without giving too much away, Kanto is one heck of a person. His female companion jumps in front of the whip here, being casted by the slave master, and it breaks her clock. He must set forth now on a quest to revive his love and free his people. I don't want to give too much of the story away. I just want to give a brief snippet here. Isn't this image amazing? Kanto, looking forth on the journey that awaits him. Next issue, number 2. Kanto's adventure begins. Enslaved for generations, Kanto's people once had hearts. Now they have clocks. With slavers, damage, a little tin girl's clock beyond repair, Kanto must brave his strange and fantastic world to bring back her heart. Can he overcome the dangers that await to save the one he loves? An all-ages fable inspired by Wizard of Oz and Dante's Inferno. Part fantasy, part adventure, all heart. Alright, so now that you guys have seen some of my prized comic collection, it's time for you guys to head out so I can game, relax, chill, and just have the rest of the Saturday to myself in my humble game room. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope you like it. Press that like button, please, gently. No need to smash. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a moment when I post a video or go live with gameplay. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, be blessed.